All right. And so did you go to school, college, or
I dropped out after a year and a half
Where were
of
you?
college. I was in Hartwick College in Oneonta, New York. Was not for me. I went for a year and a half. I think I stopped going. Didn't really go for the last half. Kind of just went to some classes and then bailed. But yeah, I did not like college. Dropped out, and shortly after got into stand-up. Which is more
never
my
looked
speed.
never looked back. It's funny. I was telling these guys last week that the idea of going to college and not attending class is one of the most unpleasant feelings I could imagine.
Oh yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. I can't tolerate it. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
strange.
It was and it was stupid. It was stupid for me to go to begin with, and it was the smart move was for me to drop out. It was just wasting money for
Yeah.
no reason.
Yeah.
And that's why with all the talk about like student debt forgiveness and all that it's an interesting thing that I've seen at least a lot of young people. At least the benefit of all of it is that they're starting to go, hey, should I go to college? Like, is that such a given?
Oh,
is
that's-
it such a given that I should go, spend myself into like $100,000 of debt before I'm 21 and just that's how I start and go for this 4-year piece of paper that gives me no real tangible skills is simply just like, oh, because I have this paper, maybe someone will give me more money.
Yeah, no, my son announced to me that he goes, look, when I have kids, unless they want to be doctor, lawyer, accountant, or academic, career in academics, no college.
Yeah, I mean I think that's like I would just say like with anything else, right? Like the same way if they were like starting a business or something and or whatever it is, if they go, look, I got to go $100,000, I got to spend $100,000 for the next 4 years, my life between 18 and 21, and you'd be like, okay, well, what's the plan?
Yeah.
What's the
What are
plan
you
here?
gonna do with
Do you
that?
have a plan?
Yeah.
Like, let me hear the plan. Let's talk about it. But if you're just like, no plan, just figure it out. It's like,
Well,
then don't go into $100,000 of debt.
I was so shocked when my kids were applying to college like 10 years ago, and the sort of college instructors or whatever they were, advisors, were like, well, it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for an academic experience, but if you're looking for a social, I'm going to spend $60,000 a year for partying.
Yeah, and
why are we doing
And
this?
18-year-olds can find a party wherever they are. They'll have a social experience.
Yes.
Like that's what they do. It's like I don't know the whole
Ugh.
thing is so messed up. And there's something like there's a lot of evil people who have done messed up things to these kids in the whole situation. Like,
What do you mean?
Look, well, I mean the banks who are giving these for years
Terrible
government
loans.
guaranteed loans,
Yeah.
right? And now it's just the government giving them out. But for years it was just like financial institutions having the backing of government. In other words, giving a loan to an 18-year-old who you would never give for anything else. If that same 18-year-old came in for a mortgage, they'd never give him a mortgage for $150,000. And that's a collateralized loan where they could actually take your house. Now they're giving, so that's just recklessly irresponsible that they're profiting off of that. And then the politicians who are like, bragging about how they've gotten all these kids in college. But just think about like all these people at the universities. Like, I remember when my brother graduated, he's much younger than me, but I remember when he graduated, go to his graduation, they'd be reading off the names and then what they majored in. Just one after the other. Gender studies, environmental studies, gender studies, like all these things that you're telling me not one of these adults in this university had the decency to look at one of these kids and go, hey, look, you may want to think about this. You may want to think about whether it's worth it to give us $150,000 for a gender studies degree.
Yeah.
Like none of them even said. They just took their money. They'll teach them anything, feminist dance theory
Yeah, I
or
was going to
whatever
say,
the hell they're majoring
and to be fair,
in.
you're picking gender studies, but there's probably 150
Yes.
other worthless
Yes.
majors.
And you're like, okay, so what? All these things, these like Ponzi scheme like things where it's like, oh, what can you do with this? You can teach someone else to do this. You
right.
can do this until there's not enough suckers left to major in this.
I at one point was very big believer in teaching kids analytical thought and careful writing and reading and stuff, but I'm not sure. I thought you could do that with any discipline in academics, but I'm no longer convinced.
I could maybe believe in theory that this idea of the universities, that there's say like 1 or 2 or 5% of our smartest kids really should go and go study for 4 more years and read all of the great books and learn how to write and
That's
learn how
not
to
what they're
think.
doing,
but
though.
also, the idea that it's for everyone.
Yeah.
That everyone's. This is just the stop after high school is college. And what is it for the most part? It's a place where people go to like get drunk and go to keg parties and like hook up. It's stupid.
And plus, you can get the exact same thing online for a lot less.
It's all available. Like everything is every piece of knowledge in human history is basically on your phone.
I still believe in teachers. I still believe teachers are important, but there's a whole sort of gig world of online teaching.
Yeah,
you can just hire it per hour, and you get much better teaching than you would at the university for literally a thousandth of the price.
Yeah. So how long can this thing keep going?
The market will take care of it.
Well,
which is what I've been saying. The market's got to take care of it.
Yeah, and the market would have taken care of this a long time ago. It's like it's the government intervention into the market that props up the whole industry. So it's like if they just stopped giving out the loans and went, just create a real market where the college would have to provide enough value that it was worth it to spend the money, this whole thing would be corrected very quickly.